Yeah, listener, and I say this in telling you Chuck Liddell is one of my favorite fighters of all time. I mean, without a doubt. But Chuck Liddell's appeal to an underserved market previously in combat sports, the white American male, really made him an allure, right? And I think in some ways he was more important than those guys who were much better than him. And the other listeners have jumped on the bandwagon and told you that both Jones and Silva would have killed Chuck and whatnot. You know, look, Chuck was a straight Kempo guy. He came forward, he threw really, really hard punches, a lot of them straight punches, overcommitted, very karate style, right? Like you leave the punch out there, you almost don't even retract it, right? Like hands up was kind of an option. He didn't really care. And that's part of what made Chuck so absolutely fun. Combined in MMA with the fact that he was a Cal Poly wrestler and he'll sprawl on you, you're not going to be able to take him down. That's why, and he said this himself, he was such a bad matchup for Tito Ortiz. Tito had very limited stand-up experience at that time when he fought Chuck twice. Actually fought him a third time and beat him right when Chuck was finally shot. But if there's something I think Chuck left off the table, and he didn't do it entirely, because I've seen Chuck throw a spin back kick. I've seen Chuck, he broke Rich Franklin's arm with a tie round kick. Chuck could kick. He didn't do it in those early days of MMA because most of his opponents were grapplers, Randy Couture, Tito Ortiz, and he didn't want to allow them to get him down because Chuck's skill when he was on the ground was simply getting back up. And he had to learn that the hard way. Like Jeremy Horn submitted him in an arm triangle choke. Afterwards, Chuck said he had no idea what he was doing. So Chuck Liddell limited MMA to, hey, we're fighting with little gloves, and it's bombs away, and who's going to win? Now, you could have been mistaken at one time to think that Chuck had an iron chin. And maybe at one time Chuck's chin was iron. But like everybody, eventually Chuck's chin went out. And I'll say something else. As people develop, like Randy Couture was an amateur boxer in the Army, but his actual boxing skills was good only for MMA. Well, he didn't really have boxing skills. But by the time guys were shaking and moving and being slicking and on him like Rashad Evans, he knocked Chuck out, right? Like by the time guys really understood the sport and what it was, Chuck was left behind because Chuck was essentially a Kempo brawler. That's what he was. I know he kickboxed a little bit, but he wasn't really even a kickboxer. I mean, he was a straight Kempo guy. And I wish he would have incorporated more of the back kicks and the round kicks because I think it would have been fun for all of us. But I understand why he didn't. It was a different time and the threat of the takedown was too big. But make no mistake, as much as we love Chuck Liddell, he wasn't one of the greatest fighters of all time. Maybe in the top 20. But yeah, read my book, Warrior of the Light.